Hey everybody, what is going on? HexLex here. Got another Master Duel video for you, and it's Monday, which means it's time yet again for another one of our weekly viewer specials. A lot of you probably know the drill by now, but if you are new to the channel and series, first of all, welcome. And second of all, let me explain. Every week here on Mondays, we show off replays from you all, the viewers. A great opportunity to come together as a community, cheer each other on, celebrate our cool wins, and also show off some decks that I might not have noticed or seen or gotten around to otherwise. So if you are interested in getting in your replay for the viewer special, you're going to want to head down to the description below. One of the links there is an invite link to our Discord server, the HexLexPlex. Once you are there, you're going to want to head down in the Master Duel section. There's a channel called the Viewer Special Submissions where you can drop your 9-digit player ID. Then I can see your publicly saved replays. If you have a particular replay that you want me to see, make sure you're leaving like your opponent's name, the date and time, or a screenshot. Just something where I know like that's the replay you want me to see. But yeah, let's go and just get right on into your games. Okay, our first game comes to us from Papa Crow, who's got a very fun hybrid list here. It's going to be one of these Duelist Cup games. I believe it's going to be this one here. Unfortunately, being a Duelist Cup game, I can't show you the actual deck list itself. However, we are going to be watching Papa Crow pilot a combination of Dracotail, Vanquish Soul, and K9. Just smashing these meta decks together. And it looks like we're going to be going second in this duel, and we're up against a Dracotail player. So very eager to see how these engines play together. Now, Fiendsmith, of course, is actually a level 5 monster, so that does make sense right there. We're opening Lucius, Magnum Hut, Triple Tax, Stake Your Soul, and Ketu. Opponent's leading with Branded Fusion right off the bat, fusing Albaz and Phyrexial into the Albion Sanctifier. Phyrexial gets to activate, setting Ketu Dracotail. And it doesn't look like we have any hand traps to really stop whatever our opponent's doing here. They're going to summon Cartesia, activate Ketu to add Orgola. Normal summon Lucius. Wow, so they just kind of have everything here. That's right, they even got to special summon the Cartesia because Fallen of Albaz is in the graveyard. Looks like they're going to use Rahu to fuse for 3. Of course, that'll be summoning the Arthelion. Now, Arthelion gets to activate, adding back Fiendsmith and Phyrexial. Fiendsmith and Orgola get to activate here, as well as the Malulu setting 3 cards from the deck. I imagine that'll be all 3 trap cards here. Sure enough, there is Horn. Orgola setting Flame. And then Fiendsmith setting the Sting. Arthelion resolves, adding back Fiendsmith, as well as the Phyrexial. And that'll be it, huh? Okay, so we still have the Cartesia to deal with. Thankfully, we get to Magnum Hunt and banish the Albaz here. So we don't have to actually deal with Albion Sanctifier summoning it and then them getting defused again. Heavy Borger is going to be our draw for turn here. We're going to activate Ketu and they're going to chain Dracotail Flame. A pretty predictable response. They're going to negate our spell, shuffle back the Malulu, and draw. Now we're going to move to battle phase, using Magnum Hut to battle over the Cartesia, meaning that can no longer fuse. Main phase 2, we're going to normal summon Lucius and then add the Fiendsmith. Fiendsmith is going to activate here, and our opponent's going to chain their own Fiendsmith in response. They're also going to fire off the Albion Sanctifier effect in order to summon back the Fiendsmith as well as the Orgola. So they're putting Orgola on their field and Fiendsmith on ours. That's totally fine though, because that just gives us a fusion material, right? Doesn't that just help us? Also, actually, putting a level 5 on our board, given the build that we're on, also definitely helps us. And here they're going to make Secretarian Dragon as we fuse for the Golemel. Now, of course, the Secretarian Dragon will be negating the effects of all other Dragon and Spellcaster monsters on the field. Those in the graveyard are still going to resolve here. And our opponent's also going to use Horn on the Golemel. So Golemel gets put back, so does their Flame. They get another draw. Orgola gonna set the Flame they just put back. Good timing on our opponent's part. They're gonna set Ketu as well for a follow-up turn. Malulu gets to set the Rahu and then negate the Secretarian Dragon, meaning our stuff is no longer negated. And now we can fire off the Triple Tactics Talent. We're gonna look at our opponent's hand. We see the Cartesia. I also saw Fulos, Brain Diffusion, and then the Dracatail Phyruxal. So we're going to put back the Cartesia. We also now know they don't really have any hand traps for us to worry about. So we're going to jump scare them with Stake Your Soul, Reveal Borger, Summon Madlove. Madlove adding Vanquish Soul start now. And our opponent's probably like, wait, what? No, you were supposed to be out of plays. What are you doing? As we go for Borger, bouncing back the Madlove in order to summon, we can activate Borger, revealing the Madlove. Finding another copy of Madlove. We can now summon the Xiaolong and then link off the heavy Borger in order to go for Rock of the Vanquisher. From here, we're going to overlay, our Dracatail Phymena and our Xiaolong. I knew Phymena being a level 5 would come up here. And now we can make Ripper. Ripper is going to add Jokel, and then we can even set the Forced Release. And now we're actually going to link Ripper plus Magnum Hut into SP Little Knight. Little Knight gets to activate and banish the face-down Sting. That'll force it to activate, targeting our Ketu as well as our Phymena. We're gonna chain Rock of the Vanquisher. It's gonna add back the Xiaolong. Sting banishing our Dracatail cards as it puts back Horn and then draws. And Little Knight will banish. Now we can go Jokel, reveal the Xiaolong in order to summon both. And they're gonna chain Ash Blossom to our search. We still get to make a rank 5 here. Also, definitely love going for the Little Knight, forcing the Sting before activating Rock. That was very well played on your part, by the way, Papa Crow. Alright, Nosh Knight going to activate here. Attaching the Albion Sanctifier because the effect does not target. And we still haven't activated Rahu Dracatail. We can actually fuse the Orgola in our deck with 2 copies of Madlove from our hand in order to summon the Arthelion. Now, Arthelion gets to bounce our opponent's remaining monsters while Orgola gets to activate here, popping one of the face downs in addition to setting up more of our Dracatail trap cards. There goes their Ketu, there goes their fusion monsters. Orgola can add back Lucius. And we pass going into a board state that is way more favored for us now than it was for our opponent. That turnaround seemed to happen in an instant there. You know, the situation looks so hopeless, but that mid-engine pivot over to Vanquish Soul and then Canine plays was very, very well done. We're going to activate Little Knight on Lucius' summon effect, forcing them to use Phymena now, and then we can chain Nosh Knight to attach to Lucius as a material. I really like doing it this way, because now it forces them to have 2 monsters in hand to fuse with. They either will have to fuse with something they probably didn't want to, or they might just not even be able to fusion summon at all. Okay, they're going to fuse the Phyruxal with the Fulos in order to make an Arthelion. And then Lucius will resolve adding an Orgola, which is probably what they really wanted to fuse away with the Phymena there, right? Alright, so they get to set a Ketu Dracatail. Arthelion's going to activate here. It's going to bounce the Nosh Knight. And we're going to go for Dracatail Flame on their Ketu. They're going to activate Flame as well, but it's going to be on our Vanquish Soul start. I imagine they're just getting the card draw here, right? They're trying to draw an out, like a Rahu or something. But it looks like they don't have much. They're going to go to battle phase. Arthelion's going to swing over Little Knight. And even if they had some more plays, we still had the Horn face down as well. Alright, drawing for turn. We are top decking into Lupus. Not that we needed it either. We still could have gone Jokel, Reveal, Xiaolong, which we're doing here anyway. Jokel effect going to activate, finding Lantern. Now Lantern gets to activate, reviving another copy of Jokel. And we're going to flip up Dracatail Horn, bounce to Arthelion. Putting back Flame, we can then go into battle phase, I imagine what's about to happen. They're going to go Fulos, we get to add a case for Canine, which we're then going to activate. That'll add Izuna, and yet because they activate a card from hand that'll buff our Canine monsters, not that we needed it, I think we still had Lethal on board, but that definitely does make for a more satisfying finish. A very satisfying duel overall. Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for sharing, Papa Crow. Love to see the hybrid deck builds here. Let's go and take a look at our next replay. Okay, this replay comes to us from Zonai, who has a turn 0 win with a very, very interesting pile deck here. You might think, well, 40 cards, it's not a true pile deck, then it's not 60, but wait to see what all we've piled in here. It's tier limits with Gem Knight to be expected. However, we're also rocking a Rescue Ace engine, Fiendsmith, and even a small canine package as well. Definitely a lot jam-packed into just 40 cards here. And for our opponent, it looks like they are going to be on... Oh, it's interesting. It's like a canine Kashtira deck. Don't know if I've seen this combination before, but we'll see how this one ends up playing out. Again, it's a one-turn replay where we're going second. So I'm very eager to see just how we're able to lock in this turn 0 finish here. Of course, the way Yu-Gi-Oh's power creep is progressing, we're seeing a lot more turn 0 plays, and might not be as surprising moving forward. Alright, they're going to lead with Noroi. We're going to fire off the Maxi in response. They're going to chain Ash Blossom to our Maxi. However, we do still have the Rescue Ace Impulse in hand to help us draw some cards here in a moment. Yeah, they're going to activate Jokel's effect since they've activated a monster effect on the field. Now we can Rescue Ace Impulse. This one's going to find Fire Attacker. And then, of course, Fire Attacker gets to draw 2 and then discard 1. And a deck like Tier Limits could actually go a long way. Sure enough, we're going to draw and then discard Rhino Heart. And we also found Izuna, which can then activate here as well. Izuna is going to summon... Rhino Heart's going to summon Dumping the Scream. Now, Izuna and Rhino Heart can both activate, sending more monsters from our deck to the graveyard, and we chain block them with the Tier Limit Scream. Scream gets to add the Soliac, and then we're going to go Rhino Heart dumping Havness, while Izuna dumps Lupus. Now Havness gets to activate, fusing with the Rhino Heart on field, causing the Rhino Heart to get banished because it was revived by its own effects, but we can still make the Kikolos. Now Kikolos can send Shiren, Shiren gets to activate here, and we're going to use Lupus in this moment as well. Lupus is going to revive, and then Shiren is going to fuse with the Kikolos in order to make Tier Limits Rolkolos, I imagine. Yep. So now if they go to Special Summon, we can destroy that monster. We can even send the Soliac in our hand, which can then search a Tier Limits monster. And on top of that, we're also making Valen the Super Sky Blaster. Now our opponent, finally able to take an action, is going to make a rank 5 of their own. It's Ripper. But it's not going to do much against Valen. Valen can just turn the Ripper face down, and now it can no longer use either of its effects. They're going to go for Izuna here. We're going to chain Tier Limits Rolkolos. That'll negate and destroy the Izuna. As mentioned, we're going to send a Soliac from our hand to the graveyard. And our opponent's going to concede at that point. With a face-down Ripper and I believe only 2 cards, 2 or 3 cards left in hand. That's kind of insane. Well, more than kind of. Yeah, as promised, we won on our opponent's first turn, firing off enough disruption to ensure that. Which really, if you think back to Tier Limits, you know, with the Ishizu stuff, would often happen then as well. It felt like a full game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Was played during, like, the turn 1 player's standby phase, and it's kind of what happened here, too. Even all this time later, Tier Limits, with the help of... some Rescue Ace and Canine cards is still facilitating the same level of gross Tier 0 plays. You know, I said that was a recent power creep development, but maybe Tier Limit's just a little bit ahead of its time there. Okay, I think we have time for one more replay. Let's finish off with that one. Okay, our final game comes to us from Dirty Harry, aka 2Legit33, over on the Discord server. And it looks like we are going to be playing Ice Barrier, a 60-card Ice Barrier pile featuring Horus, as well as a Diabellstar engine, Fiendsmith, and even Mitsurugi are here as well. So much fun. Love to see it. I love pile decks. I haven't played a 60-card deck in forever. And our opponent's going to be on a fairly standard-looking Blue Eyes package here. Alright, let's dive right on in and see. I just want to see what our turn ends up looking like here. I love looking at pile decks. Sometimes I won't even look at the extra deck, just because I want to see what they end up summoning on their turn. Alright, so here we have a ton of different options. We could go for our Diabellstar first, it looks like is what we're doing, but we also have the Mirror Mage and the Engraver. Alright, so Engraver is going to add the Tract. Then we're going to send Mirror Mage. summon the Diabell Star. Diabell Star getting to activate, as well as the Mirror Mage here because it was sent to the graveyard. Looks like they're going to imperm the Diabell Star, however. Which I think is fine because it normally would just set Deception here anyway, right? Mirror Mage going to add Winds over the Ice Barrier. However, we're going to follow up with Fiendsmith's Tract first, but it's going to chain the Ash Blossom. That'll make our Triple Tactics talent live, which is going to be the next thing activated. We're going to try to draw 2, and they're going to chain Purge. So now they're down to just 2 cards left in hand, having used 3 different hand traps against us. Here's Deception, tributing the Diabell Star, adding the Hallowed Azamina. Now Hallowed Azamina gets to activate, going for Murushilago by sending away Deception. Alright, Murushilago activates. We're going to add another copy of Deception from deck to hand. Now we can use Wanted's effect in order to put back Deception and draw a card. That's going to find Pre-Prep, which is an excellent top deck. Now we can add Mitsurugi Mirror as well as the Habakiri. Habakiri gets to activate, going for the Saji. Saji effect next, adding Ritual. We're going to activate Ritual, sending Murakumo in order to summon the Habakiri in our hand. And of course, this will trigger the Murakumo's effect. Looks like we're going to add another Habakiri here and then activate Mirror. We're going to revive Murakumo with the Mirror by tributing the Habakiri that is on the field. So now in turn, we can activate Habakiri's effect. We're going to add Prayers and then special summon Habakiri back to our field. Now it looks like we're going to link the Murushilago with the Habakiri. And we're going to go into Moon of Closed Heaven to pivot back into Fiendsmith plays. I mean, this is what I love about pile decks so much. I just love this aspect of, like, being able to seamlessly weave between your different engines. Any deck that can do that, I think is really cool. Plus, we still have this Winds over the Ice Barrier. Granted, we need to control Ice Barrier monsters to really make use of it, but... Alright, we're going to go Sequence for Lacrima. Lacrima is going to revive the Engraver here. Now we're going to link Sequence plus Lacrima. And that'll make Sprite Elf. I wondered if Sprite Elf was coming. Because I'm like, there's no way we're done with that Mirror Mage yet. And sure enough, here is Sprite Elf reviving the Mirror Mage. We're going to activate the Mirror Mage, tributing Engraver, and now we can summon 3 Ice Barrier tokens. More importantly, we can now activate Winds over Ice Barrier, but it looks like we're going to Synchro Summon first into the Coral Dragon. Now we're going to activate Winds over Ice Barrier, tributing our 2 tokens for Revealer and Spellbreaker. Spellbreaker plus Coral Dragon are going to make Ice Jade Gamera Agonine. Coral Dragon gets to draw a card. Revealer is going to send Habakiri, summoning Georgius, or... It's Georgius, right? Yeah. Anyway, now we can Synchro for 10 again. It's going to make Lancia, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. We also summoned out this Spellbreaker, meaning our opponent can no longer use spell cards on their next turn. And furthermore, we can even activate the Hallowed Azamina to add back. So that was kind of insane. Wow. By simply going to discard our Mirror Mage early, we were able to pivot all the way from Fiendsmith into Mitsurugi, back into Fiendsmith, and then use that in order to set up a full Ice Barrier end board, and our opponent, not even wanting to deal with it, just says, you can have it, which I don't blame them for. Wow, what a crazy setup. That was awesome. Alright, thanks to Harry and everybody else who submitted for this viewer special. Even if you weren't featured, you know, there is always the next week, and we could not do the viewer special if we didn't get submissions. So, really want to thank everybody who, not just the people who got featured, but also everybody who submitted. Thank you all so much. That is going to do it for now, though, so let's move on to the outro. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which by the way is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is HexLex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.